Hi folks, Six Slices here. Now this is a Cheburkov fixed blade knife and it's been sitting on my desk now for months, mainly because I can't really find out very much information about it, and as a result I've been reluctant to do any review of it, but I'm kind of giving up on being able to find out much about this specific knife. I know who made it, and I can tell you about it from what I can see of it, because I actually quite like it, despite one serious reservation. But it's not something that couldn't be resolved. It comes in a good leather sheath with a dangler. I'm never wild about retention clips like this, because I always think there's a good chance you're going to cut them, and anyway they get in the way. I quite like these sort of bushcraft sheaths where the knife just slips right in and closed at the front here. That would be ideal for me, but with it having a guard, that might not be practical. But anyway, it's good quality leather. It's nice and thick. It's not wet formed to the blade or anything, which you could do yourself if you wanted to, but it doesn't come like that. Now let's get this blade out. Put the sheath aside. Now the handle, I've been really puzzling over what this handle is. There's a possibility it could be a synthetic handle of some variety. It has a sort of the sound it makes, but I think instead it's actually stabilized wood. And just looking at the grain here, my bet would be on walnut. Now I don't know that, and I could be completely wrong, but that would be my best guess. If anybody knows better, please tell me. Certainly it's very attractive. It's got a really nice grain in it. You've got a decent sized lanyard, which I think is quite often a good thing for a hunting or camping knife. The handle size is pretty good. I've got large to extra large hands. My hand fits in there nicely. You got this good pommel, so if you were using it vigorously, you're not likely to lose it. And like I say, you can always put a lanyard on it if you're in any doubt, because the only downside to this handle is it's nicely sculpted, but it is quite smooth. So smooth handle, cold hands could easily go for a burn. Now you've got here a guard and two spaces, a black spacer and a metal spacer. Now I don't know if these are aluminium or steel, but they have this really quite nice thing we would call rain pattern. If it was if it was Japanese, I think that's if it was Japanese habaki, you'd probably call this a rain pattern. It's like water or ice on glass. So it's actually I don't know if I'm describing that with any justice, but it's actually quite attractive. Now the blade shape almost looks like a sort of classic drop point, because this swedge here is slightly deceiving. Some angles that swedge just disappears and the blade just looks like a sort of a drop point. Sometimes when you see it you see the swedge here, it almost looks like a Nesmuk sort of style knife. I think in the end it's really a classic hunting knife. You've got this sort of gently curved blade, nice point at the tip. this is as much of a decoration as it is for reinforcing a tip or whatever. But of course, we've also got the Cheburkov little badge on the knife there. And on this side, you have it says ZDI 1016, which I believe is the name of the steel. And now, this is a proprietary steel, Damascus steel, that Cheburkov used. Now, I've never really seen it put to use, so I don't know whether it's any good. My inbuilt dislike of Damascus kind of says, if you've got two different types of steel and you mix them together and fold them in this sort of way, you're going to end up with a pattern where you've got one steel is better than the other. Now, it might be a small margin between the two, but it always seems to me that it must make a compromise to the steel. Now, when you didn't have the ability to make ingot steels, let alone particle metal steels, then forge welding made sense, because you were bringing together the qualities of the different steels and at the same time helping to drive out impurities in the steel by folding it. So that was a worthwhile exercise. There is no worthwhile exercise in Damascus today. Damascus is purely an aesthetic thing. Now, if you like that, that's fine. But it's the sort of thing I certainly wouldn't pay extra to have it. I would rather have a blade in, a nice, robust, tough steel. So, today it would probably be Magna Cut, but 3V or something like that would have been ideal for this knife. I just think it's just me. I know it's just me, and it's just my prejudice, but I don't really get the idea of Damascus as a step up. It can be quite nice in a fancy pocket knife if you have a sort of Sanmai steel. So you've got a decent steel in the middle to do the work, and some fancy Damascus tacked on the outside to give it some style and to back up the hard, solid core with something a little bit more flexible and tougher. So it's difficult to say very much more about this knife, because try as I might, I can't really find out much information about it. But needless to say, it sat on my desk when I could have just handed it back, because I actually, much against my better judgment, I actually quite like it. I like this handle. I'm sure it's walnut, stabilised though, because it's got that sort of plasticky sound to it, which kind of says resin impregnated. And I hope it is, because I like this patterning in the blade here. But if that's not stabilised and that's just a crack, then that's not good. Because one of the other things that we don't know about this knife is how far up the handle goes. I suppose I could take a strong magnet to it and see if I can work it out, but it certainly doesn't come out the bottom. So a short tang to sort of here would mean this knife would be vulnerable to breaking here. If the tang comes pretty much all the way back, then that's less of an issue, less of a potential issue. So yeah, so this is a Cheburkov fixed blade. I can't tell you the name of it because I can't find it. Anybody able to tell me the name of it? And then if I can find out some more information, I'll redo the video. But in the meantime, for the sake of showing it to you rather than just keeping it lying on my desk, here it is. I say it's attractive, and it comes with a high quality sheath, and I don't know whether people use Damascus blades, so having a high quality sheath with a dangler may not be the advantage that it might be if you were going to use it. But there we are. So if you like the stuff, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe. Remember to ring the bell, and leave a comment. Preferably leave me a comment telling me anything you can about this knife, or where I can find out more information about it. That would be really useful. Thank you very much. Bye bye.